Good afternoon. We are day 8 after the most devastating, deadly flooding event, certainly of my lifetime. Today's report is that while we have thousands that lost their home, that we need to stabilize, steady progress is being made, and real significant progress, especially over the last 8 days. Best news of the day is that our death count remains the same. It did not go up, still at 37 confirmed fatalities across the 5 counties. A couple pieces of recent news. First, I've sent a request to the president for 100% federal share for the public assistance program. This is a similar request that we made after the tornadoes in Western Kentucky. What we received in that one is 100% on 2 major categories for a 30-day period. This is a request for 100% overall. We'll see where that goes. I've also sent a request to FEMA to add Whitley County to the individual assistance program. Also, we just heard out of the White House that on Monday, August 8th, the President and the First Lady of the United States are going to travel to Eastern Kentucky, where they'll join Brittany and I to visit families affected by the devastation from this flooding. And they'll survey recovery efforts at a local FEMA Management Agency State Disaster Recovery Center. More details are to follow. KSP is still reporting 2 missing persons. Both are from Breathitt County. Please note this number isn't an unaccounted for type of number. This is based on calls that have come on into KSP posts. And if we can put up those numbers in case people have not connected with their loved ones, these are calls that have come in, over 1,000 welfare checks done by KSP to people that they can't currently find. Also, was at the EOC this morning and yesterday morning, hearing full updates from each and every part of it, being on a call with all county officials. One of the main things that we're doing today, because we've moved past the initial search and rescue phase, and because we're worried about weather that's coming up, is wellness checks almost all day. So to a lot of people who may be stranded in their home, but it be livable because their private bridge has been wiped out, a whole lot of wellness checks today are going to be going on. I also want to say, both the folks on the ground in the communities and the folks at the EOC are doing a great job. These folks have worked night and day for the last 8 days. They're getting supplies all across the board, some things that they've never had to do before, into this area incredibly quickly. Heroes on the ground in every community. These are also a big group of heroes as well. Really appreciate the work being done in the EOC. Biggest concern today is weather. We have a slow-moving thunderstorms that could lead to heavy rainfall at times through Saturday. Rain and thunderstorms could lead to isolated, scattered instances of flash flooding in eastern Kentucky today and tonight. And more rain is forecast through midweek. So everybody be weather aware. The ground is already really saturated. There's a lot of debris that's out there that could cause clogging in waterways that can lead to flooding. And the infrastructure, be it utility poles, but also trees, with the ground being so saturated, if we have significant wind, could lead to some damage. So everybody be weather aware. I'm going to be real concerned about the weather, certainly through tonight and into Saturday in the area. While it's cooled down just a little bit today, it's going to get really hot again and on the back end of this rain. So our cooling centers are still open. 9 cooling centers across Breathitt, Floyd, Johnson, Knott, Letcher, Owsley, Perry, Pike, and Wolfe counties. Remember, if you don't have power, though it's a much smaller number today, make sure you get to a cooling center. FEMA, yesterday, during our update, Owsley was added to the list of counties for individual assistance. That means currently renters and homeowners in Breathitt, Clay, Floyd, Knott, Letcher, Owsley, Perry, and Pike counties who were impacted can apply for individual disaster assistance by visiting by going to disasterassistance.gov, by calling the number, or, and I believe it's probably the best option, going to one of the FEMA mobile registration centers. There are 7 of these centers. Now, I want to talk about 2 different things that you can do there. First is you can go in as you're trying to register your initial claim. But I talked to the FEMA regional administrator today, talked about how too many people are being denied, and talked about the fact that people at these registration centers are available to help you if you've been initially denied. What that means is some people are denied because you don't have all of the documents submitted that you need to. Now, to me, that should read as incomplete, but that's not how it comes back. So today, I have been reassured that if you've been denied, you can go in and talk to one of the FEMA people at these locations. They will open up your claim and they will talk to you about the reasons for the denial. Our goal is if it's because you didn't have certain documentation, and that's documentation that's related to government or state government, that we have our one-stop shops in these same locations or close to them, and we can walk you over to get that document. Now, hopefully it's one of the things we're already planning for, but we've asked for FEMA to also tell us the various reasons for denial that they are seeing so that we can try to get those services here. Already hearing stories that I don't like about people getting denied. So I think this is a good step about FEMA folks being willing to open up your claim and talk through it. So if you've been denied, please go to one of these locations. Hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And ask them for help. These disaster recovery centers that we're opening up are to provide both state and federal resources at a one-stop to best serve flood victims. We're working to open more centers, but today we're announcing Clay and Knott counties. This is both federal and state services. So our goal is you could go into the Knott County Sportsplex, for instance, talk with a FEMA person, whether you are making your first claim or working through one, and at the same time, get a list of services that we're going to be providing at our website later today. They'll include driver's license replacement. We want to get disaster unemployment at as many of these as possible now that it's been approved. I've challenged my cabinets, get everything that people there need there in one place. When we look at shelters, housing is a challenge in this one. And even in the long term is going to be a challenge. Right now, we have 529 people between emergency shelters and state parks, but there's probably twice that number staying with relatives throughout these communities. Emergency shelters have 209 survivors. That's 131 in Red Cross and 78 in independent shelters. We now have 320 people housed at Kentucky State Parks. We're really the first state to open up its parks and take people in after natural disasters, something the American Red Cross CEO thought was pretty innovative. I think it's just that we care about each other and we're willing to use our state resources to help our people. We have 172 people at Jenny Wiley. We have 4 people at Paintsville State Park. We now have 6 people at Pine Mountain, and we have 138 at Buckhorn Lake State Resort Park. We now have 75 travel trailers in the region. We are having to hook them up to the utilities. You do have to have an inspection. That's taking a little bit of time. There is a process if you want to request a travel trailer. You register at governor.ky.gov/flood resources, and the sheltering link is there. We're doing this in a very intentional way. It is in conjunction with FEMA, so we'll be able to provide the housing longer. Our goal is we start in a state sheltering program. It can move to a FEMA sheltering program, all in the same place in the same travel trailer. We're going to focus on families. We're going to focus on folks that are in congregate shelters, folks that are sleeping in a gymnasium, with COVID and other things out there, needing to get you in a more stable sort of housing. And then we got homeless folks rendered homeless because of these floods that are sleeping in their cars. We're going to focus on them as well. Here is just a look at the flood resource page. There is a ton under this. What you'll see is there are just significant drop-down options that you can use. So whether it's an individual needing help, press wanting to know more about what people can do and where they can go, this is a key page. We update it every day. National Guard, 388 members supporting the mission. They've delivered over 20,000 cases of water, 118 pallets of food. They are doing a phenomenal job. We are very proud of them. Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund, now 25,512 donations for $3.686 million. And we paid for more funerals. 5 more went out yesterday. Overall, that means we've paid for 17 funerals. Least we can do is grieve together. Nobody has to apply. Nobody has to worry about reimbursement. We're at least taking one small stress off of this period of time for these family members. Remember, this is a fund that is 100% transparent, subject to open records, subject to legislative oversight, 0 administrative fees. And this one is for the medium and the long term primarily. A lot of groups out there like the Red Cross, the United Way, help out in the immediate response, and then they go somewhere else because they're needed somewhere else. We don't begrudge that. They're there for us. We want them to be there for somebody else. This is a type of fund that is going to help us hopefully stabilize people, not just this week and this month, but over the next 6, 7, 8 months to a year. Okay, one important note that FEMA has asked us to get out there on GoFundMe pages. According to FEMA, if you receive money from a GoFundMe page for something specific, such as repairs or other aid, it may affect your FEMA eligibility. What this means is FEMA cannot duplicate benefits you receive from another source. So if you got GoFundMe dollars for home repairs, FEMA says it cannot provide the same funding as it has already been received through another source. My understanding is that's statutory and they don't have flexibility. Just wanted to make sure I'm only the messenger, first of all, on this one, but I wanted to make sure that people had this information. All right, let's talk about progress in a couple of areas. First, cell phone service is substantially restored, other than pockets, throughout the region. That is really important. Communication network backup and running. Power outages, my goodness, these folks have done a great job. It's now down to 1,102 in the area. That's down from 3,044. Yesterday was 25,000 plus at one point, and we're just at day 8. So amazing job. Drinking water. Today we're down to 11,773 service connections without water. That's down from just about 13,600 yesterday. 35,380 connections under boiled water advisory, down from 41,000 yesterday. 1 wastewater system not operational. That's down from 3 yesterday, meaning we got 2 that are now operational that weren't. 13 wastewater systems under limited operation. That's down from 14 yesterday. 3 wastewater plants still experiencing bypass. 13 systems still experiencing discharge. This is incredible work. This, plus the communications, plus the water and everything else that is going to these communities. I think about the last 8 days, and services are being restored. And when you look at the level of damage, they are being restored at a pace that is nothing short of remarkable. KYTC, portable pop-up driver's licensing offices are operating today at Hazard Community College. the Letcher Courthouse in Whitesburg, and the Sportsplex in Knott County is where you can get your driver's license replaced at no fee. It's also at Jenny Wiley State Resort Park for those who are sheltering there. That's up and running today. Pop-ups issue licenses, permits, and IDs free of charge if you're from any of the 13 counties covered by the Federal Disaster Declaration. 10 replacement licenses were issued yesterday at the first pop-up event at the Knott County Sportsplex. They got there a little later in the afternoon, but they are ready to help. It's an easy process. I've actually gone through this to test out their mobile units. You will find that it's incredibly easy, and we are excited to at least get you your driver's license back. The Transportation Cabinet inspectors have deemed 25 bridges impassable, up from 23 yesterday, meaning we were able to inspect and found 2 that were too dangerous to cross. Totals can fluctuate as inspections continue. 91% of the bridges have been checked. State crews are beginning to concentrate on reopening county roads now, with virtually all state roads, actually I think all state roads now open. Water Step is organizing a water on wheels carts to provide portable drinking water to Eastern Kentucky. The carts serve as a water filtration system and can produce up to 15,000 gallons of portable water a day. Department of Community-Based Services has processed 485 food replacements yesterday, bringing the total to 1,344. People with knowledge of food assistance programs are among those who are going to be at the disaster recovery centers. They'll be in Clay and Knott counties this weekend and Perry County on Monday if you need food assistance. That number is 1-855-306-8959, or you can visit connect.ky.gov. And then disaster unemployment assistance. Residents in 7 counties can immediately begin applying for it. Breathitt, Clay, Floyd, Knott, Letcher, Perry, and Pike can file a claim online at kcc.ky.gov or via that number. Kentucky Office of Unemployment Insurance will begin offering in-person assistance for DUA beginning at noon today at Oneida Elementary School in Clay County. More locations will be set up. Full list of legal actions. July 28th, my state of emergency, price gouging prohibition, request to the president for a major disaster declaration, and waiving weight and hour limits on trucks so we could get things even that first morning to folks. Day 2, Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund created. EO for emergency dispensing of pharmaceuticals, and an EO suspending UI work search and 7-day waiting period. Day 3, directive allowing out-of-state electrician licensees to perform work in the area, and a directive allowing a 14-day grace period for electric inspections. Day 4, a request to FEMA for individual assistance for most of the counties. Suspension for duplicate driver's licenses and titles, so nobody'd have to pay that. And a finance order directing travel trailer units as surplus property to Eastern Kentucky for use in the relief efforts. Day 5, request to FEMA, we added Wolfe County. Day 6, directive to allow HVAC mechanics and plumbers from out of state to come in and help. An EO that will help people dispose of livestock. A directive waiving permit and inspection fees for temporary or transition housing. Day 6, Owsley County added to FEMA additional assistance. Request for 100% federal share, and a request to FEMA to add Whitley County to the individual assistance programs. Not all my days were right there when I was counting them, but those are all the steps we've taken over the last really 7 days. And a final note, last year, following the tornadoes, we saw incredible generosity, especially to the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund. The single largest donation came from the Kentucky Distillers Association, and that money was raised through a rare bourbon auction. It was special, it helped a lot, and they are doing it again, this time for the Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund. So August 11th through the 21st, the Kentucky Bourbon Benefit will be an online auction with 100% of the proceeds going directly to the Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund. Visit bourbonbenefit.com for more information. And thank you to Eric Gregory. Thank you to the KDA. Thank you to everybody who I mean, these are collectors and manufacturers and producers that have really rare bourbon that you wouldn't otherwise be able to find, and they're donating it. And others that are collectors get online and purchase it and knowingly pay more because they want to help people out. This was an enormous help. The last time, what it raised would right now double the fund as it stands, so it can help a lot of people. Okay, today on day 8, we just have one journalist on the line, Stan Ingold.
Thank you, Governor. You have spoken in the past few of these updates talking about people that have been stranded due to bridges on private property being damaged or washed out. Well, my first question is, how is the process been going in helping these folks out? And secondly, I understand that FEMA and even the SBA might be able to help these people out. Can you elaborate on that?
So today we are performing assessments across all the counties to get the total number of these bridges and the locations of where they are. It's a little complicated because it is private property, but the land is not accessible without them. So we're trying to be creative. We're looking at every option. We've convened all the nonprofits that help out in the Kentucky Housing Corporation, and talking to other programs that are out there. This is going to be one of the major challenges as we look at rebuilding. And it's one that there's not a set answer for just yet. We've been talking to legislators about it too, trying to work the problem. And it's one that we'll have to give updates as we work through. Don't think FEMA has addressed this issue before. So we will continue to work through it. Frankly, the other major challenge is folks that were hitting this either weren't insured or didn't have flood insurance. And that just creates a massive loss on a scale that's not often seen in these types of disasters. We're doing wellness checks for all these folks. A couple days ago, a couple that had a fever that were stranded in this were airlifted out. So when there is a concern, we can get them out. But the other thing is we got people, we've gotten to the other side, but they can't get back and forth to check on their stuff and to be in and around their homes. So in some of these instances, rebuilding that bridge is going to be challenging, and others not as much. But certainly I don't want to call it the back end because there's no back end of these, but the rebuilding process in this disaster is going to be very complex. But we are committed to do it. We're committed to figuring it out and getting people back on their feet. All right. Thank you all very much. Everybody out there who's helping, make sure you take care of yourself. Take a little time, get a little sleep. This is going to be a marathon. That's going to be measured in months and maybe even years. We don't want to lose anybody more than we have. It's going to be raining, so be safe. Going to be hot in the next couple days, so be safe. Thank you all very much.